good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, to have the opportunity to speak to you. My name is Joe Walsh. I am currently the Chief Growth Officer at Sentera. I'll share a little bit about me. So I was a farm kid from Illinois, spent about 35 years in the industry, retired from Bayer Monsanto last summer, and in October joined this little company called Sentera based up in St. Paul. Sentera was really compelling to me. The company has been around for 10 years, and it started a decade ago when a lot of aerospace engineers from Lockheed decided to apply some of the things they were doing with drones and sensors to a different industry other than defense and aerospace. And they looked at ag, and thank goodness they did. So they have come up with some amazing capabilities with these sensors. And one of the products that we're super excited to talk to you about today is called SMARTSCRIPT Weeds. And so that's the title of my presentation. So over the next 10 minutes, I hope you're able to understand what SMARTSCRIPT Weeds is, and then how, whether you're a farmer or an ag retailer, you can use it as a value service provider within your organization. Now, before I jump into the product, I do think it's important to set the stage. So my background is in weed science, and then I spent basically 35 years not using my degree. So it's sort of apropos that towards the end of my career, I come back to my weed science degree. But I have the grace of being old enough that I remember weed control prior to herbicide trait technology. And, you know, back then, and it still holds true today, weed resistance will always be something that we're going to need to manage. I can remember as a graduate student in 1989, you know, one of the questions at the tour was atrazine resistance in lamb's quarter and pigweed. So weed resistance is something that, with or without traits, is something that we constantly have to manage. And what the agronomy tells us, and you all know this, the way to control weeds is use multiple trips, pre followed by post trips, use multiple modes of action. And so this system fits very well within that. But as we go to multiple trips and multiple modes of action, anytime we have an opportunity to save a few dollars becomes really important. Secondly, and to state the obvious, we are in some challenging agronomic times. Soybeans touched the 5-year low here recently. So farmers are always, very creative and at having a sharp pencil. They have to be. I think as President Kennedy said, the farmer's the only man in the economy, that he buys everything he buys at retail, and he sells everything he sells at wholesale, and he pays the freight both ways. So this technology comes at a time when it's needed, because lowering inputs is something that's obviously really critical. So without further ado, let's jump in and talk a little bit about SMARTSCRIPT Weeds. So what is SMARTSCRIPT Weeds? I like to think about it as a 3-step process. The first step is to schedule and fly the field, and this is where the Sentera sensors come into play. So the photograph there, and we have one over in our booth, this is like a Matrice 350 drone. So it's a fairly heavy payload. There's dual 65 megapixel cameras, dual RTK, dual lasers. And that camera will fly over the field. It'll fly perpendicular to the rows, so it'll get 2 shots on every weed. And then we upload those images into our AI model, and that AI model then creates 2 things. One, it's a weed report, which simply lets you know what's in the field, species, height, density, so that then you can make a smart recommendation. And obviously the third step is an actual prescription that can be executed through any ground rig sprayer that obviously has at least nozzle-by-nozzle spray control. And those are kind of the 3 steps. Fly the field, build the script, go execute. So we have been focused for the last 2 years with our early access program, and we've seen some incredibly compelling results. So can you identify weeds in crop, green on green, box checked? 94% of the time, we're able to fly over the field and accurately identify the weeds, and we're doing it at a 95% level of accuracy. The next big question comes up is, can your drone keep up with a commercial spray rig? This summer, we were able to scale it to 140 acres per hour. So this enables us to fly the field, keep up with any commercial sprayer. And then obviously the data has to be available in near real time, because you don't want to fly a field today and then spray it even 4 or 5 days later. You have to be able to then go make that spray application as soon as those weeds are identified. 100% of the time this summer, when we uploaded the data by 6 p.m., we had it in our EAP participants' mailboxes by 6 a.m. the next morning. And that's because our process, which is very novel and unique, eliminates ortho stitching, which makes that process go significantly faster. So what are the advantages then? What's the benefit? Well, clearly herbicide savings, they're definitely a benefit. But what I truly believe the real value is, and I'm not trying to undermine a $7, $8 per acre herbicide cost savings, this to me is the real value. Because we separate detection from application, we buy you the time to really provide that next level of service. What herbicides are you putting in the tank? What rates are you using? What surfactants are you putting in? How are you planning your fleet? You know, most of the retailers I talked to this summer about this product, you know, they say, when it's time to spray, it's pure chaos. We gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go. And so being able to at least have some information to know where to deploy your sprayers, because most ag retailers that I work with have a diverse fleet, both in terms of brand, both in terms of years of service of their fleet. So being able to know how to deploy that those pieces of equipment are really key. And then lastly, just knowing how to maximize your operations. If we've learned anything, uptime is really critical. So don't take my word for it. Let's watch this quick video here.
So the services that we offer at Chandler Co-op is we're a full service provider in terms of agronomy inputs, fertilizer, seed, chemistry, and crop protection.
Sentera is a drone-based company that provides SMARTSCRIPTs, which is a weed prescription that you can put into a sprayer with nozzle-by-nozzle shutoffs.
For Chandler Co-op being patron-owned, which is farmer-owned, all of the benefits that the farmer receives are owed from us to them. But where we see that the largest benefit is increased efficiencies with our sprayers. We're not having to load up the sprayers as often. Understanding the chemistry needs for the next year. So if we have a 20% savings, a 30% savings, we no longer have to prepay and bring in that chemistry a year ahead of time. So there's some significant savings there. Ultimately, by providing this technology for our farmers, we're able to provide an opportunity to help more farmers, which in turn helps the co-op, which in turn helps our patrons.
Flying the drone with Sentera offers a whole field perspective versus going out there on your four-wheeler and kind of just looking at a few spots here and there. And as we're flying the drone for the SMARTSCRIPTs, it also offers stand counts, and then you can go in and look at those pictures and kind of see those weeds. You can kind of see the whole field perspective.
By offering SMARTSCRIPTs through Sentera, it is allowing us as a co-op to elevate our business, which in turn elevates our customers' business and giving them more productivity and giving them more yield by allocating resources where needed and ultimately allowing for a better outcome for our farmers.
So with this, I'm gonna close. We were super excited at the end of May that Sentera was fully acquired by John Deere. It's an outstanding outcome, I think a perfect home for Sentera, and we're thrilled to be a part of John Deere. So look, thank you all very much. We're in booth 411. I'm joined by our founder, Eric Typela. He's our CTO, as well as Ryan Nelson, who is in charge of all of our hardware business, Dan Dorson, who's our head of our flight direction, and Lauren Sweeney, who's with our marketing group. So please come by. We'd love to see you, booth 411. Thank you.